Yeah, so this wasn't unexpected. So the former Defence Minister elected as the new Speaker of the National Assembly. Opposition parties and civil society groups have voiced concerns that she's not the right person for the job, that she may have a conflict of interest due to her previous job as Defence Minister, given Parliament is due to examine the handling of the July unrest by the security cluster ministers. As she takes up a pivotal role in Parliament, will she be able to command the respect of everyone in the House? Let's discuss this now with political analyst Professor Tinyiko Maluleke from the University of Pretoria. Prof, thank you so much for joining us. So, concerns that she's not the right person for the job, particularly that she's under a cloud as Defence Minister, after serious concerns about the way the security cluster handled the July unrest, and also comments she made directly contradicting the President that this was not an attempted insurrection. Do you think that we should then trust her to do a good job as Speaker while the jury's still out on her role as Defence Minister?
Well, Sally, I don't think we have a choice. We will have to work with her because she is the one that the ruling party has chosen. And given the current parliamentary system that we have, really, this could only end this way. I think the opposition knew it. I think she knew it too, and the ANC knew it, that she would win, and she has won. And the question is, you know, like you're asking me whether she can be trusted with this job. All I can say is that this is definitely going to be one of the toughest jobs she has ever had, having been a cabinet minister for so long. And that's no offense to cabinet ministers. I'm not saying that that's an easy job, but even cabinet ministers don't come with the same set of talents. And I think she will be tested in this role, quite apart from all the clouds about an investigation that is coming and all the things that you have said, which are enough to make her job very difficult. But it is a very difficult job. She's got to embody the order and the integrity that she was already talking about today of the House. Whether she'll be able to do that is quite quite unknown. Yeah.
I want you to take a listen to what the DA's Natasha Madzone said, citing concerns about conflict of interest, but also concern that the House will descend into chaos. Take a listen.
Well, there definitely will be conflicts of interest. That's a given. I mean, it's not if they are conflicts, they are conflicts of interest. So I foresee it playing out like this. I foresee her either having to take special leave or being suspended by Parliament while she's investigated, and the Deputy Speaker having to become the acting Speaker as he's been for the last couple of weeks. What you're seeing here is a clear ANC factional battle being played out at the expense of Parliament, and you're going to see chaos in the House, which is exactly what this factional battle wants, because the more factional battles, the more chaos there is in the House, the less we are able to hold ministers to account. And that is exactly what Judge Zondo said the problem was, is that we weren't, as Parliament, holding the executive to account.
Prof, do you agree with the DA chief whip that it could see the House descend into chaos?
Well, it could if she doesn't bring the same kind of gravitas that we saw in Meta and Mudise. If she behaves more in the spectrum of former Speaker Baleka Mbete, who really struggled with the introduction of the EFF to Parliament, we may go back to those days where there is a lot of chaos. But I don't know that the ANC would deliberately plan for chaos in Parliament. I think it's a little bit too rich to suggest that there's a deliberate plan to bring chaos to Parliament. What is very clear is that she may struggle, and she will be tested. She will be tried in ways that she hasn't been, because as a minister and a serial minister, you get used to that job and that comfort zone. And now she will be under scrutiny, given also the manner in which she left the cabinet, because it's not as if we don't know how and why she was removed from cabinet.
The EFF is interesting because they didn't even participate today, and they are known for being the first to jump up and speak and shout very loudly if things are making them unhappy. So I want to ask you what you thought of the fact that they didn't even participate, and whether that could signal that when they do come back to Parliament, it's going to be really intense.
Well, it's a tried and tested EFF tactic. Whether it's effective all the time, I don't know. They have walked out, they have abstained, they have disrupted, they've done it all. So in a sense, we're not surprised that they didn't participate. I think they did the arithmetic and recognized that if the ANC votes in bloc as they did, there was very little that was going to stop her from being elected, even if they participated. So it was their way of sending a message to her, perhaps to the ANC as well. But I think it's a typical EFF tactic.
Let's take a listen to a couple of the other opposition parties and what they had to say in reaction today.
We, from the start, opposed the nomination. And in her speech now, she just referred to say that we must protect the integrity of the House. The irony is that she, by sitting in that chair, is violating the integrity of the House, because when she was the minister, she misused the position by taking members of the Executive Council from the ANC to Zimbabwe on taxpayers' money and the military plane. So I didn't hear anything of, I will be impartial, I will protect the rights of all political parties because I am the speaker now. That's what I wanted to hear. But I think it sums it quite well. When she was nominated and the judge president was asked whether she accepts the nomination, not far from my side sits the Minister of Police, and he said, within the interjection, she has no option.
All right, Prof. Maluleke, Peter Groenewald there saying that the role of the Speaker is to protect the integrity of Parliament. And we are seeing Parliament, I think, under increasing scrutiny because clearly the ball has been dropped on state capture. Do you think she's coming into a tough job at the best of times at a really intense time in the history of our Parliament?
It's really a trying time because you are right. The state of capture is not only the failure of the executive, it is a result of the failure of Parliament to do its job. So she's not walking into that house triumphantly. Hers is a walk of shame with very little glory. As all the opposition parties are pointing out the mistakes that she has made in the past. But they are now settled with her. They have to work with her. So is the country. We are all now settled with her. She is our Speaker of Parliament. We have to make peace with that and proceed to demand the best from her. And I hope that the opposition will join South Africans in demanding the best from her, assuming that she will last, given all the other things that might happen, given the investigations that are pending.
What is her role in terms of impartiality? Is it simply to show that she's applying the rules fairly? Because she is a member of the ANC, but so has every other speaker been. Who would you say has been the most impartial speaker that we have had, who has applied the rules most consistently and fairly, that she could perhaps look to emulate?
Well, it's very difficult to say because, I mean, if you go back to Jinwala, it was under her watch that we had the arms deal. So even though she actually performed very well, she wasn't able to stop the arms deal from happening while she was in Parliament. You could argue that Max Sisulu was probably the least problematic of all the speakers because Baleka Mbete really struggled towards the end. So impartiality is really an important part of this job. But not only that, also the maintenance of order in the House and the embodiment of the dignity of the House is part of what she has to do. But that's the job she does in the front. But in the back room, in the backstage, she also has a lot of work to do in terms of making sure that the committee system is functional, that the political parties are able to collaborate at that level, and that Parliament is able to oversee the work of the executive, among others.
Thank you so much for chatting to us this evening, Professor Tinyiko Maluleke from the University of Pretoria.